Hey, it's the Fish Guy with Something Fishy, bringing you the latest episode of Fish Guy TV. And today I'm here with Cortland Johnson, one of our showroom aquarists. Hi, Cortland.
Hi, Fish Guy.
So today we're going to talk about a common challenge within a lot of people's fish tanks, and that's cyanobacteria. How often do you hear a customer come in with that challenge?
Every other day.
So pretty frequent. So today we'll build a video on exactly how to overcome that challenge, right?
Yes.
So since you deal with this on a regular basis, what is the common theme with customers coming in there? They talk to you, do they know it's cyanobacteria? How do you find out that that's the problem they have?
A lot of times they come in complaining about either red algae that's matting their rocks or matting their sand, and they don't know how to get rid of it because it's constantly there, but it keeps coming back.
So, and it seems like as soon as they try and do a water change or something like that, like the next day or even that afternoon, it's back, right?
Yes.
So customers come in and discuss that they have a challenge with what they're calling or referring to as a red algae. That's what you said, correct?
Yes, it is.
So what's the solution?
The solution is to, first of all, eliminate the cause of this red algae, which is actually not an algae at all, but a bacteria. And the reason that they can't find anything in their home aquariums that will actually eat this, which is usually their first question, what can I get that eats this, is the answer is you won't. Because it's a bacteria, nothing's going to be eating this bacteria. So the first thing that you need to do is remove the nutrients from the water. And the best way to do that is first start off by doing proper gravel siphoning in your aquarium.
So nutrients meaning debris, detritus, excess food, fish waste, is that correct?
Exactly.
So the detritus is coming from things within the aquarium, right?
Yes.
And that detritus is then settling in the live rock and sand and causing this cyanobacteria?
It is.
So if I have cyanobacteria, does that mean I'm probably not managing my tank on a regular basis?
It sounds like there's a good chance you don't have a proper maintenance schedule for your tank.
Oh no. Okay, so now that I've got this cyanobacteria and I want to get rid of it, I have to, one, understand that I'm probably not maintaining my tank properly. Once we're at this point, what's next?
Once you're at this point, you need to start implementing proper techniques to keep up with the regular method of keeping your tank clean. And as I mentioned before, your first step would be a proper gravel siphon when you do your water change, as opposed to just scooping out water. Actually disturb the sand and have sand particulates come up so you can get the pieces that are in between all the small sand pieces that are held together.
Got it. And we have an episode on how to maintain a reef tank and how to service it, so we can reference that for the proper techniques, correct?
Absolutely.
I realize that you have to have proper maintenance to be able to prevent cyanobacteria in your tank, but if I already have it and then I go and maintain my tank and it seems that it's going to come back really quickly, what do I do to get rid of it as quickly as possible?
There are a couple of products that would help remove it rather quickly for a short-term period, and that includes red slime remover. And if you don't have that available to you, there's also erythromycin tablets, which is actually a medication for fish.
That makes sense that I'm treating with a medication since I have a bacterial infection in my tank, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So erythromycin or EM tablets will help with that. Are there any cautions in putting medication in my tank I have to be concerned about?
Always, you never want to overdose. If anything, you want to start off with your medication treatments at half doses and see how it reacts in the tank first.
Being that it's a reef tank, I know one of the challenges in a reef tank is very few medications are reef safe. Is EM or erythromycin reef safe?
It is reef safe.
Well, that's good to know. One of the few things. So that'll treat the bacteria, right? Anything that I need when I'm treating anything that I have to be cautious about?
You would definitely want to keep your eye out on your nitrates, because as it kills this bacteria, it could lead to nitrate spikes.
Oh, that makes perfect sense. And I guess I could probably reduce my nitrates with a water change. How far after I treat do I do a water change?
I do it within 24 to 48 hours.
Treat it with erythromycin. I get rid of the cyanobacteria. And now what do I do so that it doesn't come back?
You're going to keep an eye on your feeding schedule, maintain a proper feeding schedule, not overfeeding. Also keep an eye on your stock, how many fish you have in there, and also keep a proper maintenance log, and that way you're able to track what kind of maintenance you're doing, and you continue to keep this up, and that way it'll become a habit, and it's easy to maintain the tank that way.
Excellent. So if I maintain my tank properly, in order to understand how to do that, we have an episode on maintaining a saltwater reef tank that we can watch on Guy TV. So if I'm maintaining it properly, are there any other tools or anything I could use to extract the cyanobacteria out of my tank in lieu of or in conjunction with a medication?
Absolutely. You could actually use turkey baster.
I have one of those in my kitchen drawer.
I'm sure you do. Everybody does. And it's a fantastic fish tool in multiple uses. But one of them happens to be removing cyanobacteria.
That's great. So how would I use that in my tank if we were to demonstrate that here? I guess this tank actually doesn't have any cyanobacteria, which I guess is a good thing in our showroom that we don't have it. But if it was in here, say, for example, it was covering this rock here, what would I do with the turkey baster?
Fortunately, cyanobacteria does not adhere very hard or solidly to the rock, so it'd be very easy just to lightly blow with small amounts in the turkey baster, and it should flow right off.
So if it flows, is it better to push it off, or can you actually pull it into the turkey baster?
If you're able to pull it in, it's much better that way. That way you can remove it immediately from the tank.
Excellent. So if it settled, if this cyanobacteria got on my rock, could it also, because of poor flow in the tank, is that why the nutrient matter might settle? And how do I solve that if that's true?
If that's the case, then you can increase your flow either by adding an extra power head or redirecting your current power head.
One of the things you advised me to do is be careful to make sure that I do a water change as a follow-up within 24 to 48 hours to watch for rising nitrates as a result of the decaying bacteria. Is that right?
Yes.
Furthermore, I could remove it with a turkey baster to get that cyanobacteria out of the tank. I imagine on bigger systems you could hook up a aquarium water change hose and just use the tip of the hose to also extract it. That makes sense, right?
Yes.
Is there any filter media that I would use that might help contribute to preventing this in my aquarium?
There is. You could either add Purigen, which is a fantastic remover of organic debris and dissolved organics as well. There's also protein skimmers, which many reef tanks, or most reef tanks, should always have on there, and that also removes dissolved organics. Otherwise you won't be able to remove these organics that lead to the cyanobacteria any other way. So both of those are fantastic methods of keeping up with your maintenance and preventing it.
That's great. So in the experience that we have in the retail environment, I know customers come in and they will follow these instructions, but then the cyanobacteria comes back. Do you find that it typically needs 1 or 2 treatments and maybe increased water changes instead of once a week, maybe every 3 to 5 days until it gets under control, and then they can go back to a normal managed service program?
Yes.
Excellent. Are there any other tips to get cyanobacteria out of the aquarium, or have we covered them all?
I think we've covered most of them.
So I guess in wrapping up, cyanobacteria is something that we don't want in the aquarium. It can be harmful. It can cover all the corals. It could start killing corals, right, if it covered them?
It could.
So, and basically starve them of their space and their needs, right?
Yes.
So that's cyanobacteria is something we don't want in the aquarium. It's not a pretty algae. It's not even an algae at all, right? All these things you've probably heard in the retail environment. So those are some of the tips in how to care for and prevent cyanobacteria even from entering your aquarium. But if it does get into your aquarium, follow those tips and those instructions so that you too are successful and can get on your way through this challenge and back to having a successful aquarium. So Carlin, thanks so much for all your helpful tips. I think most importantly, it wasn't just how to get rid of cyanobacteria, but how to prevent it from even entering or having it in your aquarium. So great job, really appreciate that. I know that our customers and hobbyist friends are really going to find value in the tips that you offered today. If you need further help with your aquarium, of course, you can come into the retail store 7 days a week and work with us here. You can visit us online at somethingfishyinc.com. You can check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/FishGuyTV. Of course, you can call us anytime at 877-FISH-TALK.